What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Six Man Blitz. Got a great episode for you guys today. Big news today. Eberflus said in the presser that, Justin Fields, there's no decision has been made on him being their starting quarterback next season. The question is, though, what decision has been made on Eberflus for him to be saying this at the press conference? He feels confident. He's like, yeah, we don't know if Justin's going to be our quarterback next year when I'm still there. But, like, what? How do you know you're still going to be there next year?
It was crazy as dude asked. That's why he said that I don't know, though, because he don't know. He don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be here next year, let alone Justin. What kind of question is that?
He don't know who's going to be there next year because he ain't going to be in the building, hopefully.
Man.
But, definitely it's going to be interesting these next two games to see what happens. But I think Eberflus is good as gone. Getsy's good as gone. Hopefully, their key to the building should not work after week 18 against Green Bay. That shit should be gone. Monday morning after that game, their key should not work.
Man.
As soon as the game is over.
Especially if we lose against Green Bay. And I could see us losing to Atlanta as well.
It could happen.
We could get up early, stall out in the second half, and Atlanta could easily come back.
And get out.
Green Bay, we could easily get out coached like we've done in the last I don't know how long, as long as I can remember.
Every time.
So
for some reason, the Packers are as unbeatable against us.
So if that's the case, yeah, it's time to go.
Wrap your bags up. They need to get his ass out of there. Escort him, security, all that. But we're going to get into all that. A big win for the Ravens, probably the biggest win all season. Yep. We're going to talk more, college football. We're going to talk about everything you need to know about that's happened this last weekend. Ready for a great episode?
Let's get it.
Let's go.
Fuck it.
I didn't expect the Ravens to do this to the Niners. I expected them to win, but I didn't expect the Niners to get blown out immediately. Purdy, man. Is it safe to say he got exposed? 4 interceptions, could have thrown 7, give or take. What were your thoughts on Purdy's performance, the former MVP frontrunner? Not no more, of course.
I think it just puts into perspective who he is as a player. I think we weren't able to get that sample size outside of the Browns game.
That game was bad.
And then that 3-game losing streak. So after that and players got healthy, Trent Williams and Debo,
Kittle, they were all going crazy. Like literally all their skill positions players were having career years. They were all going nuts.
Yeah, anytime you're surrounded by Hall of Famers and you're putting up big numbers and your team is number 1 seed and you're in the NFC, and you go out and just, dominate the NFC really this year. The ceiling was the roof.
Yes.
For Brock Purdy, as you can see, he was the MVP favorite. So I think this just puts everything in perspective. He's still one of those game managers that Cam Newton was right about.
He was right. Hey, give Cam Newton his credit. He was right.
Make that crystal clear. He's a guy, and nothing's wrong with being a game manager. You know what I'm saying? If you got 4 or 5, 6 Hall of Famers around you, of course, and you're an undrafted or a last pick of the draft, undersized guy that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, people were
on time.
My thing were people were saying he was Drew Brees. He was like Drew Brees. I think he said it too.
And Drew Brees is that's probably his best comp.
Yeah, best comp at peak. Brock Purdy, if he continues to play at this level, continues to be with the 49ers, he could get to that level and put up those numbers.
And Drew Brees isn't Peyton Manning or Tom Brady either.
Yeah, no, he's not.
I mean, but I think the game has changed to the point where just pass rushers are just too much of freak athletes. You can't not have a freak athlete at the quarterback position or a difference maker like the Mahomes, like the Lamar Jacksons of the world.
Josh Allen.
To win a championship. Gone are the days where you could have that game manager win you the championship, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I mean, this really showed that. Having a superstar quarterback is going to win you the game. no matter what. You know what I mean? Like you said, those times are over. The 49ers, they don't have that superstar quarterback. Brock Purdy's not a superstar.
Mm-hmm.
He's, smart, he's intelligent, game manager. But it comes down to making plays to win the game. He's not going to outperform the quarterback next to him. When the other quarterback is a Mahomes, a Lamar, Josh Allen, those kind of quarterbacks. Can Purdy even be able to get the 49ers to Super Bowl? Because they're going to have to play Mahomes, Lamar, those quarterbacks in the AFC. The 49ers have never gotten over that hump because of that.
Yeah, and I think if the question is if he can take them there, I think it's yes.
Can he win it?
Because because he has the help around him. But I think the Niners also showed some weaknesses. The offensive line got manhandled. You know what I'm saying? Their secondary didn't perform as well as you might think with the rush not getting home. So there was definitely some eye-opening weaknesses in the Niners, specifically their offensive line, and just disrupting those quick throws for Brock Purdy and getting them off rhythm seems like it's a recipe for success against them. And I think they didn't. I felt like they could have ran the ball a lot more. I know they rely heavily on their explosive plays and play action and the screen game.
They didn't run it that much, to be honest.
But they were running the ball at a very high clip. McCaffrey was still hooping, so
he had that big 70-yard run or whatever that really took him. Other than that run, the Ravens really bottled him up and bottled up that run game. So you take that away. You have Brock Purdy throw 4 interceptions, could have thrown more. That's the recipe to beating the Niners. And just like literally every facet of the game, being more physical than them.
Right.
Because that, before this game, I'm like, nobody can out-physical the 49ers because they're just that talented in the trenches, the defensive line, the linebackers from hell, the run game, Trent Williams, McCaffrey. These are dudes. You look at the highlights of their receivers block, and they're pancaking dudes.
Downfield, too. 70-yard runs. There's down there blocking running step for step with McCaffrey. So
that's what I'm saying. So I'm like, I haven't seen a team dominate them and put, every facet of the game, they're more physical than them. And the Ravens did that. So that was really, I was impressed by that.
I think they're the clear front runner for the Super Bowl championship. And I think they are also have the MVP.
Oh, MVP?
So,
and you look at his numbers too. People are like, "Oh, this is going to be the worst year for numbers wise for the MVP winner." But the award, most valuable player. If you watch the games, he's the most valuable player,
no question. And then what he did last night against arguably the best defense in the league, arguably the best team in the league.
He got sacked twice. One was by the ref. The ref sacked him that one time.
That's what I'm saying. So you looked at how fast and physical that defensive front is, especially after the addition of Chase Young, and he made them look like he was running in sand.
Right. His pocket awareness, his footwork, all of that.
He's freaky. So
really
he's cat-like quick.
Yeah.
And it never looks like he's full speed because he can change direction in the blink of an eye. So,
he's very
different.
Yes.
Very different. And then when you add the throwing piece and how he was still able to get over 250 and distribute the ball to pretty much everybody
around him.
I'm seeing tight ends catch the ball I ain't never seen play before.
Yeah, that other tight end they drafted, 88, Colera. He's
talking about the improvement as a passer. He's running to pass and using his legs when he wants to, getting everybody involved. It was just an impressive ass performance. One of the better performances I've seen. And he always shows up in big games.
Yes.
Motherfuckers sleep on him. But biggest games, the best games I can remember were games where he ran into the locker room to take a shit and came back and end up winning the game against the Browns team.
That was nuts. That was a really good fucking game. And you look at his record, I seen the stat. He's 5-0 against top 5 defenses. Isn't that crazy? The Seahawks blew them the fuck out when they were rolling. Detroit blew them the fuck out. Had his best game as a passing all year. What do you have, 3 or 4 touchdowns passing, 300 yards? So he shredded them. Man. So some of the best teams in the NFC, he's beating them. 49ers, he did it against them. So that's really impressive, and I'm excited to see him go on a Super Bowl run this year. It's theirs to lose, bro. It's theirs to lose, especially in the AFC. I don't know who's touching them. I don't know
Ain't
who
nobody
can compete
touching
with
them. Ain't nobody can compete with them. I think Buffalo brings a unique challenge.
They've been on a run. They've been doing really well lately.
Miami, you can't count them out.
Especially the win after
have
Dallas. Game this week.
So you're looking at an opportunity for
both teams.
Baltimore to clinch the first seed, and then
Miami, if they get that win, that's
to arguably clinch the MVPs.
Mm-hmm. So I think he'll put up good numbers against Miami.
Oh yeah, he will. He always plays well against them. Outside of the Brian Flores days, I feel like
Brian Flores, he schemes up pretty well. He always has.
He sent in
good blitz packages. Yeah, that one Dolphins game. It was Ravens Dolphins. They beat them, and Lamar had one of his worst games.
Right.
So that Brian Flores is really good when it comes to that stuff. But maybe teams that have to face Lamar coming up in the playoffs or this week can look at that and be like, all right, this is what we need to do to ball him up. But I don't know. Lamar's looking different.
Yeah, this is a different Lamar.
He's comfortable.
He's beating teams from the pocket, and he's doing it in every way possible. Mm-hmm. He's really like the Jokic of quarterbacks.
And he just looks like one of the greatest, those people that have that aura. Just watching him play, it's like, man, I'm really witnessing greatness.
Right.
One of the best to do it type shit. He has that kind of feel when you're watching him, and just the plays he's making. That 20-yard run he had where he shook Fred Warner out of his socks. He looked so out of position trying to tackle Lamar, but just plays like that, and it just makes it even crazier that teams looked at Lamar and was like, "Nah, we're good. We don't want to pick up him. We don't want to give him a bag." And look, Ravens possibly have their best opportunity to win a Super Bowl since the Ray Lewis days, Flacco, and all them. So it's looking good if you're a Ravens fan. I like this team. I mean, one team though that I think would give them a good fight. It would be a good game. Obviously, the playoffs is going to have a lot of good games, but the Cleveland Browns, they're a sneaky good team. What are your thoughts on this team with Joe Flacco off the fucking couch? He has 1,300 yards passing, 10 touchdowns, 7 interceptions in 4 games.
Boy, it's going crazy. And Amari Cooper is benefiting from that performance.
265 yards receiving.
But if I'm being honest, I don't think their offense is going to perform as well against Baltimore. So I don't think they're going to be 2
tackles, bro. That's going to be.
You look at how we kind of dominated them defensively.
Yeah.
I can't see them having. I could see their offense struggling similarly, and then when you add the Ravens' offense and what Lamar is able to do, you got to take that into consideration for sure.
And I don't think defensively, their defensive coordinator Mike McDonald, I think he'll never have one of their D tackles dropping in coverage, 3rd and 15. So that's the difference. That's never gonna happen. So the Ravens, you don't have to worry about that.
3rd and 15, you got too exotic.
Right. And the crazy thing though about the Cleveland Browns is right now they still could clinch the first seed. It's them, the Dolphins, and the Ravens that are the 3 teams that could possibly get the first seed. Imagine though, Joe Flacco, that defense, having the first seed and everything in the playoffs having to go through Cleveland. That'd be nuts.
It might just be one game going through Cleveland.
Because, hey, Buffalo come to Cleveland or whatever team comes back from the divisional round going to Cleveland. I like their chances. But Stefanski, he's a great coach. People,
coach.
if it wasn't like out there, people didn't know, it wasn't knowledge, now because what he's done. They're the only team in NFL history or something to have 10 wins with 4 different starting quarterbacks. And this is each of those starting quarterbacks have 1 victory, each of the 4. So that's fucking crazy. Even winning with PJ Walker, who the Bears cut him. They said, you're terrible. They cut him after the preseason games and stuff. So, Cleveland, I like what they're doing out there. Definitely when Deshaun get back, they're going to be an elite ass team now. Making the playoffs too. It's not like their schedule's been easy either.
The first wild card team.
Oh yeah, for sure. They've clinched that already. I don't think any team wants to play Cleveland right now. If I'm being honest, defensively, that run game, but their tackles are really those two tackles that they have, guys, backups in there at that positions. I think that's really going to hurt them. Joe Flacco.
No question.
They're going to, some of the defenses in the AFC too. That's really going to hurt them.
Right.
But one team that's been struggling too, the Kansas City Chiefs. Situation there has been getting worse and worse. What are your thoughts on this? I mean, you got Mahomes not trusting receivers. He's yelling at people on his team and shit. They were, mad about the flag a couple weeks ago. But it's just getting worse and worse over there in Kansas City. They have an opportunity to miss the playoffs completely too. So
I don't see that.
What are your thoughts on this team? Can they get it together, or is it over? Are they doomed?
I think they undervalued that Tyreek Hill trade and then tried to fill in the blanks. Last year they were able to do that, but then you lose Juju and then in free agency, and you don't get the production at the receiver position, and now these losses start to add up.
Yes, and the Raiders clapped them too.
And they're not playing to their strengths at this point. They're not the team they were last year or the year before. Mm-hmm. Their strength is their defense and their quarterback. So they're going to have to change how they win, much like Tom Brady did in New England to sustain the dynasty when he didn't have the weapons at his disposal. You got to be heavy run game, heavy play action.
Get some more things.
You got to win on third down, and
they have it. Mahomes is even his play is even decreasing, and you look at Travis Kelce too. He's gonna have 1,000 yards this season, but he looks not the same.
Yeah, he's less explosive.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's
explosive.
Age or attrition, but he doesn't look like the player he once was. And then like I said, you never
address that receiver position. Yeah,
Tyreek Hill. When you got in today's NFL, you arguably need 2 number 1 receivers.
Yeah, you need multiple guys out there that you could get the ball to, because obviously Kelsey's going to be locked down. They're going to cover him. They're going to make sure he's not getting out there open. But he really has no other receivers he can trust, and it shows every game. He's pump faking. He's waiting for reads and stuff, waiting for a guy to get open, and just Kadarius Toney liability every time. He's out there. He shouldn't be out there no more. And then Scatling, he's another guy. You can't really trust him. They gave him a bag. The really receiver that they've been able to trust the most was Rice.
Yeah,
and
I like him.
If Kelce is, defenses could prepare for those two, and
easily.
It comes to a point you go against Cleveland Browns. That defense, they're going to be able to.
I like Cleveland in that matchup.
Me too. They would be able to hold the Chiefs down. The Raiders, that defense is improving. They had their way. Defensively, Mahomes ran. They said he ran for 900 yards, in the pocket, just collectively all together the whole game, and that's the most he's had his whole career. The most even against in the Super Bowl against the Bucks. That one year when he was under pressure every play. So he was running for his life against the Raiders defense.
Man.
Imagine against Cleveland's defense, Baltimore's defense. I don't think it's going to be sweet for him. So this Chiefs team, it's going to, it's like when dynasties are at their, they're falling. It's, their downfall is here.
Yeah.
You look forward to it. You're happy about it. But, the Patriots dynasty.
We thought he was going to eclipse Tom.
It's going to be Michael Jordan, the Michael Jordan of football. That's what they were calling his ass.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I was calling him. Sure. So, I mean, it just shows you got to win in different ways, and they're still a dangerous team. Still have a top 5 defense
because they have
Mahomes and Andy Reid. Why can't you win like Cleveland does with the backup quarterback?
Yeah.
There's no excuse.
Yeah, and that's Joe Flacco too.
That's what I'm saying.
Andy Reid is the best coach in the NFL right now.
You got to win differently than you did last year or the year before, and I you can't count them out because of those two leaders and then the defense. So I think they just have to lean heavily on the run game. Mahomes is going to have to use his legs more than he's had in the past, as you can see. Mm-hmm. And the offensive line has to shore up.
Yes, they need to do better.
Because they struggled last week.
And that's
struggled bad.
Yeah, one of the other pass rush on the Raiders, he had 3 sacks. Collins, I think is his name, but he had 3 sacks, and that's unacceptable. Max Crosby was getting after him too. We already said, he ran for 900 yards in the pocket and around, just evading pressure. So that shit can't happen. Especially, his greatness is really being tested this year. Like, how much can he do?
Gotta do more with less.
And that's the thing. People are saying, like, all right, he is finally able. People are saying he's finally showing, like, the world and stuff what Lamar has had to deal with. It's not as easy for him no more, not having a reliable weapons and stuff. And that's a great thing though about Lamar though. Regardless of the situation, losing Mark Andrews, losing Keaton Mitchell, another star running back, they went out and beat the 49ers. So he's no matter what happens around him, not having really a receiver out there that's a number one option, another like a guy that you could trust to get the ball all the time, no matter what, no matter who's guarding him. Right. He's got weapons that are talented, but he doesn't have that number one guy, and he's still out there shredding defenses in the pocket, chilling. So that's impressive about Lamar. But let's talk about the Bears. Why can't Justin Fields and this Bears team be like the Ravens? Now, Justin Fields, he's as elusive as Lamar, I think. He's like
he's not as elusive.
He's as dangerous as a rusher. They're there. They're at that level, kind of.
Yeah.
Lamar obviously is faster, and his pocket awareness obviously is way better than Fields. His comfortability in the pocket is
way more accurate.
He clears Fields.
There's a time where he was what Justin Fields was, just with a better culture and a coach and an overall team.
But he grew and he continued as a passer.
To stack his skills, and now he's at a point where he's just as dangerous from the pocket as he is with his legs. So and extending plays with his legs and still accurate throwing on the run, different arm angles. Arm strength is phenomenal. So he can beat you from the pocket just like a Joe Burrow could.
Yeah, which is scary.
And then he can extend plays like Mahomes can.
Yeah.
And then he can run like
those
Justin
big yards.
Fields can.
Yes.
So you're talking about
the best player in the NFL.
You're talking about the total package and shit.
Yeah. So I think at some point Fields with a good offensive, coordinator in year 4, this defense, the Ravens defense is a championship level defense. So can the Bears be. That defense can be at that same level as the Ravens defense right now. You got guys that are athletic. You got young core. You got talent. Jalen Johnson's one of the best corners in the league right now. So you got talent. Montez Sweat, he's, the presence he is and how he's getting after the quarterback. So you got guys on this defense. Why can't we be like the Ravens? Why can't we have Fields do what he does in the pocket, be more comfortable, do all the stuff Lamar does, similar, have those big runs. He's already doing it. He's already a good runner as a quarterback. But why can't, we run the ball like the Ravens? Why can't we be a physical team like the Ravens,
And it starts with the culture, you know what I'm saying? The coach got to be physical.
Yeah, and Matt Eberflus, I don't think he's physical. We got some shit up our sleeves.
You had a D tackle. You had a one tech drop back in coverage on 3rd and 15.
3rd and 15.
Who is he covering on 3rd and 15?
Njoku.
Behind him? He covering the check down?
Check down Charlie. That's what he covered.
What? I need to see that play in the playbook and just look at it.
And bro, they did it again against the Cardinals, bro. We dropped the coverage.
Oh, good God.
You didn't see that? They did it again.
Then you seen we try to run that same James Cook play. That shit was a pick. Bro, he's not. First of all, dude, not James Cook.
Who? Khalil Herbert?
Yeah, Khalil Herbert ain't James Cook. Let's make that crystal clear. And then Justin just telegraphed that shit.
Yeah.
He was going to him regardless of, regardless.
The DV read it like a book. And it was a Dr. Seuss book. It
had hella pictures.
It was a not hard book to read. No. But no, Fields, I think he can be at that point. I just think coaching comes in, we need that identity.
Got to be better.
That culture has to be there. We have all the people to be a physical team. Last year, number one team rushing the ball. We can be that. That can be us.
Right.
So that's what's frustrating about this. The pieces we have on this team. It's a talented team. Roster's not that far. But, it comes down to the execution, the coaching. Because I think with the Cardinals game, we would have blew their team out if we had Jim Harbaugh as our coach. If we had another guy as a coach. We're blowing the Cardinals out. That's like to be up 21-0 in the second quarter and then, it to be like, oh shit, we might blow this game in the fourth quarter. 27-16, that's the final score. What happened in the game? You see teams like the Ravens or other teams that are contending teams. When they are up big in the game, that foot stays on the gas. We don't do that for some reason. We have a problem, staying aggressive and putting it on them. Fields, that interception that took away some points off the board. We were at the red zone. So, but like shit like that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and ultimately it's going to cost Eberflus and Justin Fields their jobs. I think when you look at it at the end of the day, those lost games in the fourth quarter where we're up double digits.
3 times, 3 losses.
They all end the same way with the offense getting out early, and now we have a big lead, and then we just don't extend it. We don't put teams away. And a lot of that has to do with the coaching, first and foremost. Specifically, the down and distance. Anytime we're in third and short, fourth and short, we struggle.
It's tremendously. That doesn't make sense because we have like one of the biggest athletic quarterbacks,
most athletic quarterbacks
in the league, and we cannot.
A better run of the Josh Allen, a better run of the Jalen Hurts.
If we can't get a first down off 4th and 1, and we convert 4th and 10. We've done that before. We've converted. What was that one DJ Moore touchdown? That was on like 4th and 7. We've converted 4th and longs, but we can't get a first down off 4th and 1. We always have Cole Kmet behind the center, or we had Wildcat, Roshan Johnson. That seat needs to be fired.
We need to run Justin Fields off whoever we think our best.
Tevin Jenkins. I think right behind Tevin Jenkins. And was it Braxton Jones?
Then run QB Power and bring the big boys. So there's that.
You could put Dexter back there too.
Justin Fields' inability to beat teams with making a couple throws in the fourth quarter specifically.
Yeah, and those turnovers in the fourth quarter.
QBR is god awful, and it didn't improve.
Yeah.
This game, thank God we were able to run the ball at will. So
he definitely looked more healthier in that game, Khalil Herbert.
And our offensive line was dominant, so there's not much I take away from the game just because of how bad Arizona was.
Because they're the worst defense in the NFL.
Chicago on Christmas Eve.
They trying to end that shit early.
Man, niggas ain't trying to go to Chicago on Christmas Eve.
But thankfully Chicago, it was like what? It wasn't that bad.
Amazing.
The weather's right now is nicer than
like we should have went whole time.
Low key.
I don't go to games in the cold. That shit don't make sense.
No, it doesn't. Right now, at this point, it should have been like -2 degrees. It should have.
The good thing is though, we do have Atlanta at home.
Yes.
So Eberflus is what 4-0 at home in the last. Like we haven't lost at home since Denver, right?
Yeah, we've been pretty well playing at home. Beat Detroit. We beat some really good teams at home. So, but looking at, like you mentioned, James Cook, that play, we don't have a James Cook. Running back position this year has disappointed me. I'm not going to lie.
Me too.
Deontay Foreman, he was solid.
And I think when we lost with David Montgomery, weren't willing to pay him, so we decided to pay 3 guys
at the minimum,
less than what we would for one David Montgomery, and I just don't think we had an identity in that room, and that
Montgomery is different.
Our rushing compared to last year,
and I liked some of the games Foreman has had. Roshan has shown some flashes. but I don't know who the number one running back is going to be next year.
Everybody's been hurt. Everybody's in and out of lineup. And we really haven't had an identity that with those three.
Yeah. So it's tough to say.
Season.
It's tough to say who's the guy next year. Would you potentially look at signing Josh Jacobs or Saquon Barkley in free agency? One of those two guys?
Saquon would be an interesting one.
Yes.
But not Josh Jacobs.
Why not?
Just because I think he's if we're deciding between the two, Saquon, I feel like bigger, more athletic, a little bit more tread left on his tires.
Him and Justin would be a really good duo together.
I agree. I think he would be a better benefit in the passing game.
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs, don't get me wrong, I do like him as a player, and he's well rounded too. Don't get it confused, but I just look at Saquon and the game breaker. He's a
game changer at the running back position. Like he makes those game plays that you need. And if
Josh Jacobs is too, but yeah. I'm like, if you had to choose, I'm gonna choose a younger guy, more athletic.
And if you're gonna pay him too, you're definitely gonna go the Saquon Barkley route. That's interesting though, because those two guys, they were free agents. They were gonna get a deal done this year, maybe, but they got franchise tagged. So those two guys will definitely possibly be out the door. Their situations. I do like one of those two guys going to the Ravens next year, though. I do like that happening. Josh Jacobs, they tried to get that done at the deadline, trade deadline, and it was almost going to happen, but it fell through.
Josh Jacobs to the Ravens?
Yes. It almost happened. Or is it Derrick Henry, I think? Derrick Henry or Josh Jacobs?
Yeah, I heard Derrick Henry. I didn't hear the Josh Jacobs, though.
I think it was Jacobs, though, but so one of those two guys to the Ravens, they're still young with Lamar. Hey, that shit would be scary. But let's look at the Miami Dolphins. They finally got their statement win against the Cowboys. Huge win. And this was a great win for them because coming into the year, that's been their question mark. They haven't beat a good team. Mm-hmm. Really, like record-wise, they haven't beat a good team.
Right.
They've come up short.
Not only have they haven't beaten them, they lose badly to them.
Yeah, and what better a good team to play in that situation than the Cowboys?
Cowboys.
They're the same situation. The Cowboys not at home.
Not at home.
And was it that Tony Pollard not getting in the end zone
Yeah, he needs some peanut butter for his jelly.
That is a crazy statement. But
what I mean by that is he needs that
David Montgomery,
Ezekiel Elliott Montgomery. Yeah, exactly. So
he's not that.
He's not the guy that's going to get it for you on 4th and inches. Like, come on, man.
And he looks like he lost a step this year too.
Because they asking him to do shit that's not his skill set. Like, you give my man the ball 15 carries and 12 of them are inside zone. Like, come on, man.
He's not in between the guards kind of guy. Not
so I think
the trenches.
They whiffed because Zeke still had a little bit of
juice
tread
left
on his tires, and the role he's playing in New England. Why the fuck can't he play? Why couldn't he play
Cowboys? It doesn't make sense. Or even like if they would have got like Leonard Fournette to do that. Leonard Fournette would have been a perfect combo with that.
Yeah. That's the reason why he didn't get signed till now.
Yeah, he on Buffalo. They finally let him play in the game.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I do like their other running back they have, number 23. He's solid, tough runner. But Tony Pollard, I definitely think, he's lost a step. In that run game, it doesn't look as effective this year. The Dallas Cowboys, man, they're probably the biggest frauds in the league right now. They lost to another fraudulent team, the Dolphins. So the question marks about them, they've been so inconsistent this year, more than ever. This team, they showed up, they beat the Eagles. That was a great win for them. But then you lose to Buffalo, you lose to Miami. And Miami, this was a great win for them.
Yeah.
Down the stretch, how they won it. Running the clock out. Defense played well. They had 4 sacks against Dak Prescott. Mm-hmm. So they showed up in a big way. And Dolphins, they get hot. That's a dangerous team. And that was the one question mark about them. Can they show up in the big games? They did against the Cowboys, beat them. They got Baltimore this week. What are your thoughts about that? Who you got in that game?
This is going to be the real test. AFC opponent, arguably an AFC
for the first seed,
matchup.
for the number 1 seed. Big playoff implications.
So you're going to have to see Tua elevate his game, which another game manager. I want to see if they disrupt his timing and take Tariq out the game, what does that offense look
Tariq
like?
Hill too. I mean, Tariq Hill is hurt too. Waddle's got a high ankle sprain, so their weapons might not be a factor in this game. And that run game, Raheem Mostert, he's having a great year. I don't think that's going to be happening against his Ravens defense.
Nah, especially after like you said earlier, even though McCaffrey had a good overall game,
yeah, you look at the stats.
He wasn't able to control the game like he's had in the past, and
those
I thought they were going to lean heavily on him, which they tried to. But I don't see if he can't have success. I definitely don't see Mostert having success.
I think that run game's not going to be there, and if you got Waddle and Hill banged up, your two weapons that you're throwing the ball to a lot, majority of the time, you don't have that. That run game's not going to be that effective if that's the main identity of the offense, if that's what your go-to is going to be. So I think they're going to struggle against Baltimore. We're going to see what they're made of, this Dolphins team.
Yeah, I want to see what that defense looks like against Baltimore as well.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be able to bottle them up.
Jalen Ramsey is back.
Bradley Chubb has 11 sacks this year, so he's been playing well. I don't think they'll be able to, if the Niners couldn't get to Lamar, I don't think they'll be able to get to him much. The secondary is going to be tested. Can Ramsey and Howard, can they, lock down the Ravens' weapons? But I think it might be a big day for Gus Bus, though. Gus Bus.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's where it's going to be a heavy running game. And I think early, Baltimore pulls away. You see a couple plays that take the momentum right away from Dolphins. And it's going to be in Baltimore too. So I don't know. Number one seed on the line too.
Yeah, I bet. I got my money with Baltimore, but
I think by multiple TDs too. I think
really
Baltimore wins by maybe like 14.
Does the high of a win all the way in San Francisco?
That could take you far, bro. Like, this is like, especially with the Lamar, you saw what he said. Mike Florio, or whatever the dude's name is, said that the 49ers were going to kick the shit out of Baltimore. And he took that shit personal. He was like, yeah, Mike Florio at the end, like when they were in the tunnel and stuff. And then he said, that was really disrespectful. Like, he was like addressing it at the press conference. So I think a win like that can, if they weren't already together and, the momentum wasn't already there from them being 11-3, it's going to be even there more now after a huge win against 49ers. So I think they can ride that all the way out to the rest of the season, get the first seed, and things run through Baltimore. We've already said no team can touch them. I don't think no team can touch them.
Yeah.
They're going to have to get in their own way, and they seem like they've dealt with injuries pretty well.
For sure, and you see they've been another team that's struggled to maintain leads in the past, and they've had a few of those games already. In the games they've lost, they've actually been up heavy, and so I think they've been able to correct that. A lot of that has to do with Lamar improving from an accuracy standpoint, and this is the game that Lamar seals the deal for the MVP. You think if they win this game, if they clinch the first seed, he probably won't play next week. I
don't know who they got the following week. I think they got, is it the Bengals? Maybe
it's got to be a division game, right?
Yeah, it's a division game to end the regular season for them. He might not play. Oh, I think they got Pittsburgh. I think it's Pittsburgh.
They got Pittsburgh. Huntley can play that game.
Yeah, for sure. So,
it's going to be 3-6.
Especially
3-8 with a safety to win it.
Yeah, because their really competition is the Browns. They beat them. They had the head-to-head with that. The Browns beat them earlier in the year, but then they blew them out when Thompson was out there playing. So they have that. The Browns have the last head-to-head, so they might play. Oh no! Actually, they'll be fine.
The Steelers.
They'll be fine. The Ravens will be fine because they're 11-3.
Mm-hmm.
The Browns are 10-5.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll be fine with that. But Ravens moving forward, I'm excited to see them go. Lamar go on a Super Bowl run. If he gets a Super Bowl, how does that change his legacy? You think? Man. Does that take? Because Michael Vick, He had his success, like he had those great seasons. But Lamar gets 2 MVPs and a Super Bowl. Are we looking at him like he's the? Is he above Josh Allen and Joe Burrow? Right behind Mahomes?
Yeah, if you get a chip, hell yeah, and 2 MVPs.
2 MVPs?
Which is more than both of them. So
yeah,
Joe Burrow's been there before, so you got to give him the nod
over
at
Allen?
this point. But yeah, I'm taking Lamar over both of them.
And I mean, it might be crazy.
Arguably the best
Lamar is the best player in the NFL this season over Mahomes. It's not a question. The year he's had, the impact he's had on this Ravens team, they're the first seed for a reason. So, if he gets that Super Bowl, him and Mahomes, that conversation gets close. That might be crazy to say. It might be a hot take.
Yeah.
But he's definitely, with the Super Bowl, he'll definitely pass up Burrow and Allen. And it was crazy because towards the beginning of the year, I was like, Jalen Hurts. Because I was, thinking about, like, he gets a Super Bowl, he'll be the second best quarterback in the NFL. But the year he's had was the opposite.
Most turnovers he's had in his career.
I think it was at 12? 12
he's at 17 total turnovers.
With the fumbles, too.
Yeah, so...
not a great year for him.
Not a great year. Kind of stumbled against the Giants through a pick six. So,
that was bad.
You know what I'm saying? I don't like what I'm seeing from them, but they're still dangerous, still talented, and still they have the talent
to compete
with their defensive line, but they're not producing defensively.
Their back end has been getting cooked.
Oh, they ass, and their linebackers
Darius Slay too is out for the rest of the regular season, I think. Damn. So it's tough for that. And defensively they've been getting cooked. You could see they're losing 7 starters last year. 7 starters last year. TJ Edwards, they needed TJ Edwards out there.
They say they miss him the most.
Yeah, TJ Edwards, his presence, his leadership too.
He a dog.
Yeah, he's a fucking dog for real.
He a dog for real.
And Javon Hargrave too up the middle. Imagine him and Jalen Carter and Davis still. So they are losing a lot of guys defensively. They had the defense they had last year. They would have beat the 49ers, I think. And they probably would have been undefeated.
No, that's true.
And losing Shane Steichen, too.
They haven't been able to run the ball. Yeah. And Shane Steichen, like, to your point, that boy...
He's different.
He's cold.
Look, Gardner Minshew.
He cold.
Uncle Rico at quarterback. He can make the playoffs.
Team, so that's what I'm saying. The margin for error in the NFL is so small, and you really see the difference. Because there's not a huge difference between, say, us at 6-9 versus a team that's 9-6.
No.
You think about the teams that just pull out the W's in close games, and that comes down to coaching at the end of the day.
We don't got a coach.
We lost 3 games.
Dude, Shane Steichen was another
point lead in the 4th. So you flip, which would literally flip our record upside down. So we could be a 9-6 team, and we're not talking about.
Could win the division.
Eberflus, we could have easily won the division, sweep the
Lions. Because that first game we gave up Denver. A lot of the matchups, a lot of games that you're gonna look at and you're gonna be like, wow, we're 6-9. We doubled our win total, but you're looking at it like, yeah, that's nice. We could have tripled that shit if we would have just finished some of those close games. So that's the hard part. Yeah. We talk about coaching; it really matters. You see with the Raiders the most. Antonio Pierce, what he's done for this team, wears black Air Forces every game. The locker room, you see how happy they are. Even with Aiden O'Connell, I think he's an ass quarterback. I've said that before.
He's a solid. He's a backup. That can be a backup for 5 to 10 years for sure.
They're a quarterback away from being a really good team, I think.
Yeah, I mean they have the pieces. I mean
the talent is there. The defense, like Max Crosby.
Crosby is that guy defensively. He is that top 5 pass rusher that you want,
like a Myles Garrett, like all those guys
around for sure.
You don't need like a bunch of guys on your defense line. He'll still curate a pass rush himself to have a good unit.
That's what like a Montez Sweat does for your defense. That's what a Myles Garrett does for your defense. Obviously my man in Pittsburgh. So
TJ Watt, yeah.
Right. So
he has that impact. I definitely still think
a a top 5 pass rusher, which I feel like we have now, is going to make everybody better and everybody playing the way they have to. And now we need DJ Moore to do that on the offensive side.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what we have. But in a lot of our offensive struggles in the second half came because DJ Moore was hobbled. Cole Kmet had 100 yards at half.
It's like, who are we getting the ball to when those guys are banged up?
Mooney. Ass. Mooney ass. Goddamn, what's his name?
B12. Debo Samuel Jr.
Come on, man.
No, he's ass too. I like Baylor stuff sometimes. But nah, he was ass.
And then the rookie from
Cincinnati,
which is he's
I wanted to see more from him this year.
So I think we need to upgrade the receiver position. We did it with DJ Moore. But we need another guy.
Another guy like a Marvin Harrison.
Not Devontae Adams.
T. Higgins?
T. Higgins, for example.
A number 2 guy.
Devontae Smith, for example. Or even my man in Vegas.
Jacoby Myers?
Jacoby Myers. Like
great Batman.
Great
Robin. Great Robin, great Robin.
So you need that guy that can go win when one guy's getting all the other attention, and that goes for receivers as well as pass rushers.
And that it shows you, like, look at all the good teams.
Smith, with T.J. Watt, that boy cold.
Defensively, you need it, like we said. Offensively, you need it. 49ers, they have that. They have Chase Young,
Bosa, and then
on the other side, Debo. They got all the options. The Dolphins, they got it.
They got arguably the best receiver
duo.
Brandon Ayuk and Debo, and then you look at what Kittle brings, and then McCaffrey is the best running back. That
shows you. That's how you're supposed to build it. That's how you need. You get DJ Moore. All right, now we see what a number 1 receiver will take us offensively. It doubles our win total. We get a couple more wins after it. Now go get more. Now go get Marvin Harrison. Go get Brock Bowers. You can never have enough talent on the offensive side. And defensively, I think free agency, go get a Josh Allen. Go get another pass rusher.
Forget Josh Allen.
Or Brian Burns, bro, next to Montez Sweat. All right, that's the OP.
I mean, from a cap position and a draft capital position, we can go get a superstar at receiver and a superstar at the pass rush position. So, I mean,
it can happen.
Justin got to beat Green Bay. If we split the division 3-3, or we beat everybody and they beat us, and you look at, we could have easily won this division.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Outside of the Packers game, week 1, we could have easily won this division. But if we get outcoached against the Packers, which I feel like we will.
Yes, I think we will
I think that'll be the end of
Eberflus
and Eberflus, if I'm being honest.
So if you think we beat the Packers, Eberflus stays?
No.
Do you win the next 2 games? Eberflus is gone no matter what?
Eberflus is gone.
It's tough because you could he could make a case for him staying by beating Green Bay and beating Atlanta this week.
I can't see him beating neither team. I think both teams have a better coaching staff than us. And they're both teams that are in the middle of the pack like us. So there's going to be, talent-wise, we're going to be around the same. So it's going to be dependent on them coaching staffs. And I think Arthur Smith
is a better coach.
Yeah, he's a better coach.
And he's ass, too.
I like him. He's definitely...
he's a weird dude.
Yeah, he's weird, and he's polarizing. A lot of people like him. A lot of people don't.
Yeah, he's funny as hell, but I just think how he's been using the people he has. If you got any of them dudes...
Yeah, if you got Bijan and he's hit or miss, and like... Even Drake London,
like he's really talented.
Oh, he's a true number 1 in this league. Kyle Pitts as well.
One of the best tight ends one of the best tight end prospects ever to come into the league.
But look at who he's got at quarterback.
That's true.
Tyler Heineke.
Yeah, that's true.
He performed well. They won, right?
Tyler Heineke's ass.
Yeah.
A lot of ass in the NFL. In today's episode, 3-year anniversary that we've been doing 6-Man Blitz. Long time coming. Continuing to get better and better. We're striving to give you the best sports content possible. But let's start off with sports analyst Jordan Schultz.